Yeah, well, about lunchtime yesterday, at 1:30, there were a group of kids who were lining up outside a school, primary school kids, and as they lined up, a man approached them and started to stab some of those kids. We have a 5-year-old girl who is in hospital in a critical condition, Callum, after undergoing emergency surgery yesterday. There's another 6-year-old girl who suffered head injuries, who's also undergoing surgery. Two other kids have now been released and home, and thankfully are okay. And there's a woman in her 30s who's a carer, and she was injured in that incident as well. There's also a man in his 40s who police want to speak to with the incident, a person of interest. He's in hospital with injuries and under armed guard at the moment. But as the afternoon went on and the police were looking at the scene and investigating, a number of people started to gather on the edge of the cordon, engaged initially in verbal disagreements with the Gardaí. That's probably about mid-afternoon. But by the time we got to 6 o'clock, the crowd nearby had gathered to about 100, and then there started to be some physical interactions with the Gardaí. By the time we got to about half 7 or 8 o'clock last night, Callum, we had a group of up to 200 people in the O'Connell Street area, Parnell Square, round of Dublin, and those people were engaging in more sustained and violent interactions with the Gardaí. At one point, we had up to 400 police officers on duty who were making minor pushes each time to put that crowd back down O'Connell Street, if you know it, towards the famous site of the Spire and the GPO, and back towards the bridge that would lead you down to the Temple Bar district.
Mm.
As you heard Drew Harris there speaking about what he believed to be the ideology driving those people, he's due to speak again at 8 o'clock this morning and give us more detail on what exactly happened. But as you say, there were a number of shops that were damaged, hotel fronts that were smashed in, a shoe shop was looted significantly during the rioting, and we had a police car, at least one tram, and a bus that were set on fire. And not something, especially that right wing ideology that Drew Harris is talking about, that we're used to in Ireland. Definitely not the image that a country like Ireland and a city like Dublin want to project around the world when they've spent so much time talking about the Irish welcome and the Irish hospitality.
Mm. Gosh, I mean, it really was quite shocking, Peter. You touched there on the police briefings. They have been quite strong in what they've said. And so, yes, another one coming on later this morning, which is helpful to know. In terms of how things have been overnight and how things are looking this morning, is it a lot calmer? Does this feel like it was been contained to yesterday evening?
Yes, contained to yesterday evening. Obviously, the watch for the public and the media will be on what happens over future nights and whether
Mm.
there's any spillover. But by about half 11 or midnight last night, the Gardaí were saying that things were relatively calm. They kept a significant number of officers on foot. There were extra officers who were deployed from around the urban area and brought into Dublin to look after the peace and also to keep an eye on the streets overnight. We are, as I say, expecting that briefing just after 8 o'clock on what exactly is happening. There has been some impact. Lots of public transport was pulled last night after 8 o'clock. The union for the bus and tram drivers told their members to bring any vehicles that they had back to base at about 8 o'clock last night for their own safety.
Mm.
As well, this morning we understand from Dublin Bus that services are running mainly as normal. There are some areas around the Connell Street, etc., that because of the violence, because of the debris, they simply can't access. But most people in Dublin should be able to get to work or school this morning and use public transport without any significant delay. As you say, it will be interesting to see what exactly happens. And the point that we've had made as well
Mm.
is that, as ever in these instances, there's lots of online speculation about what exactly might have motivated the initial stabbing attack. And Gardaí have been very careful right through yesterday and again this morning to say to people not to believe or engage in misinformation
Yeah.
online. So lots of rumours circulating, but police and the authorities very keen to say to people that not everything you read online is true.
Of course. Peter, thank you very much. Good to speak to you. Peter McVerry from U105 Radio.